Martha entered the courthouse, her mind a whirlwind of emotions. She had spent the morning preparing herself for what promised to be one of the most humiliating experiences of her life. Divorce wasn't something she ever envisioned when she married Tom. But after years of infidelity and being treated as a shadow in her own marriage, here she was ready to reclaim her dignity. The courthouse was bustling, a theater of human drama. Lawyers shuffled papers, clients whispered nervously, and a few journalists lingered, searching for their next headline. Martha, a self-taught sculptor, felt out of place amidst the tailored suits and expensive perfumes. Her modest beige coat and handmade leather satchel seemed to mark her as an outsider. Tom, her soon-to-be ex-husband, sat across the room with his lawyer and his mistress, Felicia. Felicia's designer outfit clung to her figure like a second skin, and her glossy smile radiated arrogance. Tom's mother, Eleanor, sat next to her son, whispering occasionally and shooting Martha disdainful looks. Martha clenched her fists, feeling her pulse quicken. When the judge called the case to order, the room fell silent. Martha felt everyone's eyes on her as she stood. The proceedings began, and the accusations flew. Tom's lawyer painted Martha as a bitter, ungrateful wife, while Martha tried to remain calm, recounting Tom's betrayal with quiet dignity. Tom smirked and leaned over to Felicia, whispering something that made her giggle. Finally, Tom's voice cut through the courtroom, loud enough for all to hear. "She's like a mule, reliable but boring. Who wants to be stuck with that forever?" Laughter rippled through the room, and Martha felt her face burn. But instead of breaking, something inside her hardened. She straightened her back, took a deep breath, and spoke clearly. "Your Honor, if I may." The judge nodded, curiosity flickering in his eyes. Martha stepped forward, unbuttoning her coat. The old fabric fell to the floor, revealing a vibrant crimson dress beneath. Its elegant cut and fine fabric transformed her appearance entirely. Gasps filled the room as Martha pulled a clip from her hair, letting her dark waves cascade down her shoulders. "I'm no mule," she said firmly, her voice steady. "I'm an artist, a creator, and someone who deserves respect." The room buzzed with murmurs. Even Tom's smirk faltered as he took in the transformation. Felicia's confidence visibly wavered, and Eleanor's mouth dropped open. Martha's calm exterior belied the storm within, but she refused to let them see her falter. To bolster her case, Martha presented evidence photos of Tom and Felicia together, messages exchanged between them, and statements from mutual friends. The evidence painted a clear picture of Tom's deceit. The judge's expression hardened as he reviewed it. Eleanor, ever protective of her son, attempted to deflect the blame. "Martha, dear, you've always been difficult. Maybe Tom strayed because you pushed him away." But the judge cut her off. "Mrs. Reynolds, let's focus on the facts at hand." The session ended with the judge announcing that a decision would be made the following week. Martha left the courtroom with her head held high, her spirit unbroken. She had endured enough humiliation for a lifetime, and she was determined to rebuild her life. As she walked out into the crisp autumn air, she felt a sense of relief. The weight of Tom's cruelty no longer pressed down on her. She had plans to finalize a commissioned sculpture for a prominent local businessman, which would help establish her career further. Life, she realized, was full of possibilities she hadn't dared to dream of before. The week leading up to the next court session was one of introspection and preparation for Martha. She threw herself into her art, finding solace in the tactile process of sculpting. Every curve and line she molded felt like a small piece of herself being restored. Her latest piece, a marble sculpture of a phoenix rising, seemed almost prophetic, a symbol of her own rebirth. During this time, she received unexpected support from her best friend, Laura, who had flown in from another city upon hearing about the divorce. Laura was a whirlwind of positivity, refusing to let Martha wallow in self-pity. "You're so much better off without him," Laura declared one evening over a shared bottle of wine. "Tom's nothing but a narcissistic jerk. And that Felicia, she's just a symptom of his insecurities." Martha smiled, feeling grateful for Laura's unwavering loyalty. "Thank you for being here. I don't know how I would have gotten through this without you." "That's what best friends are for," Laura replied, raising her glass. "Here's to new beginnings." On the morning of the next hearing, Martha woke early. She dressed carefully, choosing a deep green dress that complemented her eyes. As she looked at her reflection in the mirror, she barely recognized the woman staring back. This was a version of herself she hadn't seen in years, strong, confident, and ready to face whatever lay ahead. At the courthouse, she was surprised to see Daniel, the businessman who had commissioned her sculpture, waiting for her. His expression was serious, but his presence was comforting. "I'm here to support you," he said simply. "And there's something you need to know before we go inside." He handed her a folder filled with documents. As she skimmed through them, her eyes widened. It was evidence of Felicia's embezzlement from Tom's company bank statements, forged signatures, and correspondence with a co-conspirator. "How did you get this?" Martha asked, stunned. "Let's just say I have my sources," Daniel replied. "This is your ace. Use it wisely." The courtroom was tense as the session began. Tom's arrogance had been replaced by visible unease. Felicia avoided eye contact with everyone, fidgeting nervously. Martha took her place, holding the folder tightly in her hands. But when it was her turn to speak, she stood and addressed the court. "Your Honor, I have new evidence to present that not only supports my case, but also reveals additional wrongdoing by the defendant and his associate." She handed the folder to the judge, who reviewed its contents carefully. Gasps filled the room as the judge read aloud excerpts from the documents. Tom's lawyer's face turned ashen, and Felicia's confidence crumbled. "This is serious," the judge said, his tone grave. "Mr. Reynolds, can you explain this?" Tom stammered, his usual composure shattered. I didn't know. This has nothing to do with me." Felicia, sensing the tide turning against her, tried to defend herself. "It was all a misunderstanding. Those documents aren't what they seem." But the evidence was irrefutable. The judge ordered an investigation into the embezzlement claims and adjourned the session. Martha left the courthouse feeling a surge of triumph. She had not only stood her ground, but had also uncovered the truth. In the weeks that followed, the fallout was swift. Tom's reputation was ruined, and Felicia faced legal consequences for her actions. Meanwhile, Martha's life took a turn for the better. Her sculpture of the Phoenix was unveiled at a gallery opening, receiving widespread acclaim. She even received several new commissions, solidifying her status as a rising star in the art world. Daniel, who had been instrumental in her victory, became a close friend. Their relationship deepened over time, built on mutual respect and understanding. One evening, as they walked through a park, he took her hand and said, "You deserve happiness, Martha. Don't let anyone convince you otherwise." She smiled, feeling a warmth she hadn't known in years. For the first time in a long while, she allowed herself to believe in the possibility of love. Martha's journey had been fraught with pain and betrayal, but it had also been one of resilience and self-discovery. She had risen from the ashes of her old life, proving to herself and the world that she was far more than anyone had ever given her credit for. And as she stood at the edge of a new beginning, she felt an unshakable sense of hope for the future. Thank you for watching Story Voyage. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit the like button and share your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe to Story Voyage and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new video. Until next time, stay strong, stay inspired, and see you in the next story.